Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating developmental milestone, why kids suddenly develop an intense fear of dirt and germs, and exactly how you can help them navigate it. If you've ever spent any time around young kids, you know for a fact that their relationship with messes can literally change overnight. So let's break down the actual science behind that shift. Right, let's unravel this mystery. Think about it for a second. Why does a toddler, who once happily made mud pies and essentially tried to eat the entire backyard, suddenly turn into a kid who refuses to touch anything even slightly sticky? It's a pretty drastic behavioral flip. One day they are completely oblivious to grime, and the next, just a tiny speck of dirt on their finger causes a total meltdown. To figure out what's really happening behind the scenes here, we need to take a look at how their brains are actually developing. Section 1. When disgust comes online. A developmental shift. So here is the absolutely crucial point. Disgust isn't just your ordinary squeamishness or some quirky behavior. It is a biological disease-avoidance system. And here's the real kicker. It comes online as a child grows. It is completely absent at birth. Infants and toddlers simply do not possess this built-in alarm system yet. It's something that literally has to develop during childhood to act as a protective mechanism. Because this alarm system just isn't active early on, young kids will happily touch, grab, and even taste things that older kids will absolutely refuse to go near. The whole concept of contamination, the idea that something invisible can actually make you sick or dirty, that only develops with age. So when an older child suddenly panics over a sticky hand, they aren't just acting out. Their newly developed contamination awareness is firing off alarm bells that simply didn't even exist a year prior. But biology is really only half the story here. The other half? It's learned. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of vicarious learning. Studies actually show that children learn what to find disgusting largely just by watching the adults around them. If a child sees an adult make a disgusted face toward an object, that child instantly learns both fear and disgust toward it. And not only that, their attention actually shifts toward that object afterwards, hyperfixating on the perceived threat. So, your facial expressions, they are incredibly powerful teaching signals. Section 2. The glitter effect. Mapping contamination. Now, to understand how a kid's brain visualizes these invisible threats, we have a pretty perfect analogy. To a developing brain, germs behave exactly like glitter. And if you've ever done a craft project with glitter, you know exactly what kind of nightmare we're talking about here. Just like glitter, the rules of contamination follow a very specific pattern in a child's mind. First, once a germ touches something, it spreads everywhere. Second, if a perfectly clean item just brushes against a dirty item, boom, that clean item instantly feels contaminated too. And finally, the most distressing rule of all for the kid, it feels like it never, ever fully washes out. No matter how much you scrub, there is this lingering sensation that the glitter is still there. Section 3. The dirt ladder method. Gradual exposure. So, knowing how they view these invisible threats, the most effective way you can step in to help is through gradual exposure. You can gently guide them through this by getting their hands dirty on what we like to call a dirt ladder. You start super low stress, maybe just playing with some dry sand. Once they can tolerate that, you move a step up to something a bit stickier, like messy paint, and then eventually up to wet mud. But here is the most important part of this entire method. You have to end each step without immediately washing their hands. You have to allow that uncomfortable feeling to fade on its own so they realize the distress goes away naturally. To summarize your role as the adult in the room, first up, watch your own face. Remember those studies on vicarious learning? Keep your expressions totally neutral around a mess so you aren't accidentally sending out a danger signal. Second, guide them gently up that dirt ladder we just talked about. And third, cap the washing ritual. Don't ban hand washing entirely, of course, but allow only one normal hand wash. Do not allow a rewash. Shortening that ritual is exactly what allows the child's anxiety to finally drop. Section 4. The hand sanitizer trap. Making fear worse. Handing over a wipe or some hand sanitizer every single time a kid requests it feels incredibly kind and supportive in the moment, doesn't it? But unfortunately, it is a massive trap that actively reinforces the child's anxiety. Let's look at how that vicious cycle actually plays out in their brain. First, the child gets dirty and feels a huge surge of anxiety. Next, the adult swoops right in and rescues the kid by immediately handing over a wipe. Now, because of that instant rescue, the child's brain learns a false lesson. It learns that the feeling was genuinely dangerous and that only cleaning could end the threat. Because you inadvertently validated the danger, the urge to clean is going to come back even stronger the very next time they encounter a speck of dirt. Section 5. When it might be OCD. Safety guidelines. Now, we need to talk about where the safety line actually is. You need to look out for specific warning signs. Is the constant washing causing physical harm, like leaving the child with sore, raw hands? Is this fear of contamination dictating their choices and totally taking over their day? And most importantly, is the distress outlasting the actual mess? If the dirt is completely gone, but the child is still trapped in a state of high anxiety, you've crossed a line. If those warning signs are present, we might be looking at OCD rather than just ordinary squeamishness. And at this point, it is absolutely worth seeking a professional assessment. As a caregiver, you should never try to diagnose this on your own. The absolute best way you can help is to connect them with a professional who really understands how to treat it. So, I want to leave you with this thought to remember the next time a child panics over a muddy hand. Knowing that your reactions are powerful teaching signals, and knowing the trap of the instant wipe, are you helping them build a resilience to navigate a messy world, or are you just confirming their fear?